Hi everybody, this is Bob with another Logic Pro 9 tutorial. In this video we're going to explore getting your kick to pop out of the mix a little bit by using some side chaining. Now side chaining is normally done using a sidechain compressor in terms of how it interacts with a kick and a bass. Typically you put a compressor on your bass and let the kick through a sidechain input nudge that bass out of the way a little bit so that the kick will pop out of the mix a little bit. But what we're going to do in this video is explore something a little bit different. We're going to use a noise gate. We're going to use a sidechaining technique on a noise gate, and we're going to plug in a sine wave with a low frequency, and we're going to allow that kick drum then through a sidechaining event to allow that sine wave to poke through the mix a little bit in unison or in sync with our kick drum. So that'll help our kick drum pop out of the mix a little bit. So let's see how we would do that. Let's get started. Okay, so here I have a drum kit and a bass track, and I've extracted the kick drum out separately. So let's just take a listen to this. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is create another track. I'm going to do it right underneath this kick drum here. I'll create a software instrument. And on this track, first of all, let's name this track Sine Wave. And let's go down here and insert an EXS24 sampler. Now, if you don't select an instrument here, the default for the ESX24 is going to be just a basic sine wave. So we're just going to leave it like that. I'm going to go here with my pencil tool and create a region and extend it out to the full loop here. So let's go down to the piano roll here now, and let's create one note here around C1, and let's have it extend the full length of this loop here. Okay? Let me solo that up here. Not very exciting. Okay. Now we're going to insert a noise gate here on this track for the sine wave, and we'll come back to that in a minute. The next thing we need to do is go back to our kick track, and we're going to send some of this signal from this kick to an aux bus. So we're going to create a send here. We'll go to bus 1, and I have named that bus 1 gated kick. Okay, so when I play this kick drum here, we'll take this send right here, and we'll send some of that signal. Now you can see it over here in this aux bus. One of the things that I need to point out here is that normally when you set up an aux bus, it is set to the stereo output like so. In this case, we don't want any of this signal that we're sending here through this send. When it gets to this aux bus, we don't want it going out the stereo out, because the only thing we're using this signal for is to operate the sine wave. I'm sorry, to operate the noise gate. So we're going to set this stereo out here, or this output, to no output for this aux bus. Okay, so now that I have some signal here on this aux bus, I can come over here to this this sine wave track, and right here under sidechain, I'm going to have the input as bus 1. Let me solo these two up here. So you can see the activity here. Just get your threshold right. So we have a little bit of that going on. We'll adjust the attack and the release. And so now we have that sine wave kind of pumping along with the kick drum. So if I want to solo this sine wave here, notice that if I just have the sine wave on solo here, I don't hear anything. The track is playing, I don't hear anything. I have to have a signal going over here to this aux bus for my sidechain event. So how can I solo that so I can hear it, maybe EQ it, set the level, and that sort of thing? Go over to your kick and let's look at the send bus here and notice that it's post fader. Let's make it pre-fader so that I can pull this slider down here. I can leave it soloed, but now I won't hear the kick drum, and I'm just going to hear the pulsing of this sine wave. So let's check that out. Here we go. So now I can better play with my threshold and my attack and release and hold to get it adjusted properly. Let me adjust that a little bit. Notice that if I pull my attack and release down, I get this popping noise. So you have to play with that a little bit to get rid of that. The hold time here, you might want to adjust that to taste. So now you can see I have them both going on here at the same time. Let me pull this down and we'll mix it a little bit. Okay, so that's with the sine wave. This is without. That's a nice little bottom to it. Now the other thing you can experiment with here is go to the sine wave track, and on this piano roll you can move this note around a little bit and see maybe it would sound better down at instead of C1, put it at C0. To change the octaves real quick, a little shortcut here, hold shift and then hold option and then down arrow, and notice it quickly move that note down to the octave below. So let's see how that sounds. It's not so musical that way. Let's solo it up, see what it sounds like. May want to do that. May want to move the note up a little bit. Maybe halfway. There we go. Okay, let's hear what this sounds like with the rest of the drum mix. All right, here it is with the sine wave muted. Sine wave back on. So there you have it, a nice way to add a little bottom to your kick drum by using a sine wave with a sidechain event. Hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.